always thought I had a normal family, mum, dad, and my younger brother Ryan. But one night I overheard my parents talking and learned something terrifying. It turned out Ryan wasn't my brother at all. I didn't believe it, so I took a secret DNA test, and everything changed. From that moment on, our lives were never the same. What I discovered next shattered not just my trust, but our entire family. I used to think I had a pretty normal life. 2 parents, a little brother, a small but cozy house in the suburbs. The kind of life you don't question. Not because it's perfect, but because it seems stable, predictable, safe. I'm 26 now, but this story begins a few years ago, when I was 22, and I just moved back home after college. I thought it would be temporary. I needed to save money, find a job, maybe figure out grad school. My younger brother, Ryan, was still living at home. He was 19 then, a community college student, obsessed with vintage sneakers and EDM. We got along okay. We were different. I was more introverted. He was more social, but he was still my little brother. We shared childhood memories, inside jokes, sleepovers during thunderstorms. It's weird how you can love someone and still not really know them. That realization didn't hit me until the night I overheard a conversation I was never meant to hear. It happened around 1:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. I had come back from a late shift and was quietly heating leftovers in the kitchen. My parents' room was at the end of the hall. Door closed, lights off. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. Honestly, I was scrolling on my phone, waiting for the microwave to beep, when I heard muffled voices. I remember hearing my mom first. Her voice was quiet, strained. "You think he suspects anything?" Then my dad. "No, he wouldn't. He thinks Ryan is his brother, just like we told him." The microwave beeped, but I didn't move. My stomach tightened. I froze there, gripping the edge of the counter. "We should have told him years ago." Mom whispered, "The longer we wait, the worse it gets." "And say what exactly?" Dad snapped, "That the boy he grew up with isn't really his brother, that he's someone else's kid." I don't know how long I stood there, maybe a minute, maybe 10. I remember the cold tiles under my feet, the flickering refrigerator light. I remember how suddenly quiet the house felt, like the air itself was holding its breath. When their voices stopped, I tiptoed back to my room like a thief. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the words repeating in my head over and over. He thinks Ryan is his brother. He's someone else's kid. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, everything felt off. Ryan came into the kitchen in his usual hoodie and joggers, poured a ridiculous amount of cereal into a bowl, and scrolled on his phone like nothing was wrong. I stared at him, really stared. Same dark brown hair as me, same general build, but his eyes, hazel, almost golden, were different. I had Dad's eyes. Ryan didn't. "How'd you sleep?" he mumbled, with his mouth full. I lied. "Fine." We went through the motions, coffee, small talk, Netflix in the background, but I wasn't present. I was studying him like a stranger. I suddenly couldn't remember what hospital he was born in, whether I'd ever seen baby photos of him, why he had Mom's last name on his old school awards instead of Dad's. Things I'd never questioned before. Now I couldn't stop. That day, I pulled out old photo albums. I found dozens of pictures of me as a baby, a toddler, a kid, birthday parties, school plays, camping trips with Dad. But Ryan, nothing before age 4. Nothing with Mom in the hospital. No pictures of her pregnant with him. Not a single photo of him in diapers. No cake-smudged face from his first birthday. I asked my mom casually that night, "Do we have any baby pictures of Ryan, like from when he was born?" She paused, her smile twitched. "Oh, honey," she said, waving her hand. "Those old ones got lost in the flood at Grandma's place. Remember? All the boxes in her basement were ruined. But I did remember. The flood happened when I was 12. Ryan would have been 8, plenty of time for baby photos to be scanned, shared, saved. She changed the subject, and I didn't push. Not yet. A week passed. I started watching Ryan more closely. He had no idea. He'd rant about his professors, show me funny videos, steal my leftovers, like always. But the doubt was spreading. One night, I Googled how to get a sibling DNA test without them knowing. That's when I found out you don't need your sibling's permission. Just a toothbrush, or a hair with a root, or a used Q-tip. It felt wrong, like I was betraying him. But the next morning, when Ryan left for class, I found his electric toothbrush on the counter, and I did it. I won't bore you with the logistics, but I mailed it in, paid for express results. They came 2 weeks later, and the moment I opened the email, my life changed. Probability of full sibling relationship, 0.0%. Probability of half-sibling relationship, 0.0%. No biological relation detected. I sat there, staring at the screen. My chest was tight, my throat dry. No relation. None. Ryan wasn't my brother. He wasn't even half my brother. Everything felt surreal. I called out of work. I didn't talk to anyone that day. I just kept hearing Mom's voice in my head. He thinks Ryan is his brother, just like we told him. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront them? Should I talk to Ryan? I felt like I was floating above my own life. Nothing made sense. The next morning, I woke up with the email still open on my laptop screen. For a moment, I hoped it was a dream, but it wasn't. I looked at Ryan differently now, not just with suspicion, with guilt, anger, confusion, sadness. How do you look someone in the eye after realizing your entire relationship with them is based on a lie? But that day, he knocked on my door holding 2 sodas. "Wanna run some Warzone tonight?" he asked. "You've been acting weird lately." I stared at him. He was wearing a stupid t-shirt that said, "I paused my game to be here." He had no idea, no clue that everything I thought I knew about him, about us, had just collapsed. "I've just been tired," I muttered. "Work stuff." He nodded and tossed me a soda. And in that moment, I didn't care what the test said. That was my brother. Whatever the truth was, I needed it. So that night, after everyone went to sleep, I knocked on my parents' door. My mum answered, groggy. My dad sat up in bed, rubbing his eyes. "I need to talk to you," I said. "Both of you. Now." We sat in the living room, just the 3 of us. They knew something was wrong. I could see it in their faces. "I overheard you 2 talking the other night," I said. They didn't speak. Mom's face went pale. "I heard you say Ryan's not really my brother." My dad opened his mouth, then closed it. I continued. "I found no baby photos. I asked about them. You lied. I took a DNA test. He's not related to me at all." Silence, the kind that buzzes in your ears. Finally, my mom spoke. Her voice was quiet, careful. "We were going to tell you. We just never found the right time." "There's never a right time for this," I said, "so tell me now." She looked at Dad. He nodded slowly. And then she told me. Ryan wasn't adopted. Not exactly. He was left at a fire station, abandoned when he was maybe 2, they guessed. No note, no ID, just a worn-out onesie and a blanket. My parents were volunteering with a family services program at the time. They weren't planning to take in any kids long-term, but when they saw him, malnourished, scared, silent, something in them cracked. They agreed to foster him temporarily, but the months passed and no one came forward. No leads, no claims, nothing. He started to smile again, to laugh, to speak. He called my mom Mama before he even turned 3. They fell in love with him. And eventually, they made it official. They adopted him, secretly, quietly. I was 4 at the time, too young to remember the details, too young to understand. And so, they just never told me. I didn't know what to feel. I was angry, yes, for the lies, the secrecy. But I was also heartbroken. Not for me, for Ryan. He didn't know he was adopted. He didn't know anything. He deserves to know, I said quietly. He has a right to his own story. My parents sat there in silence. I need to tell him, I said, or you do. But this can't stay a secret anymore. That conversation changed everything. The next evening, they told Ryan to come home early. We sat in the same living room, but this time, he looked confused, nervous. Mom started to cry before a word was said. Dad did most of the talking. Ryan just sat there frozen, blinking like he couldn't quite process it. "You're saying I'm not your son," he finally whispered. "No," Mom said through tears. "We're saying you are our son. You always have been. You always will be, but not by blood." I expected him to explode, to scream, to leave. Instead, he just stared at the floor for a long time. Then he looked at me. "You knew?" I nodded. "And you didn't tell me?" "I just found out a few days ago," I said. I didn't know how to say it. I was trying to figure it out myself. He stood up, left the room, didn't come back that night. He stayed at a friend's house for 3 days. When he returned, things were different. He didn't yell, didn't cry. He was just quiet, reserved, distant. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. The foundation of his identity had cracked, and we were the ones who'd built it wrong from the start. But slowly, painfully, we started to talk again. He asked questions, lots of them. We told him everything we knew, which wasn't much. No names, no files, no origin, just a baby found alone in the cold. He processed it in his own time, and eventually, he said something I'll never forget. "I might not be your brother by blood," he said, "but you're still the guy who punched a bully in 2nd grade for calling me weird. You're still the idiot who stayed up all night helping me study for chem finals. You're still the person I've spent my whole life calling bro. That doesn't change." I nodded. Same. And that was it. Not a perfect ending, but a real one. In the weeks that followed, our house felt different. Not broken, not hostile, just quiet. Like we were all walking on eggshells, waiting for someone to say the wrong thing. But to my surprise, Ryan handled it better than I ever could have. He didn't spiral. He didn't self-destruct. He just processed. He started asking Mom more about his early childhood, about the day he was found, about whether they ever tried to look for his birth parents again. She was honest. She said they had, but there had been no leads, no records, no DNA matches, no fingerprints, nothing. He was a ghost, dropped into the world with no past. "I used to wonder why I never looked like Dad," he said one day, "or why people said I had a unique face. I guess it makes sense now." I asked him if he wanted to search for them, his real family. He thought for a long time. "Maybe one day," he said, "but not yet. Right now, I just want to figure out who I am first." Our relationship changed after that, not in a bad way. If anything, we became closer. There were fewer assumptions, more real conversations. We talked about identity, about trust, about what it means to be family. And I realized something that sounds cliché, but felt absolutely true. Blood doesn't make you brothers. History does. Love does. Loyalty does. Ryan and I had 20 years of shared life. Late-night video games, sibling rivalries, family road trips, jokes no one else got, moments no DNA test could touch, whatever biology said. He was still my brother, and I was his. A few months later, I helped him start a project, a kind of identity journal. We called it The Life I Remember. He wrote down every memory he had, good and bad. His first day of kindergarten, the time he broke his arm on the trampoline, our dog Max, the Halloween we both dressed up as Spider-Man. The idea was simple. Build a story with the pieces you do have, not to erase the mystery, but to own it, to reclaim it. One night after a few beers, Ryan looked at me and said something that stuck with me forever. "I used to think I was lucky that you guys took me in," he said. "But now I think you're lucky I stayed." We both laughed, but he wasn't entirely joking. And he was right. We were lucky. Because in the end, what we had wasn't something we were born with. It was something we chose. Every day. Through arguments, through awkward dinners, through secrets and silence, we still chose each other. And we still do. It's been almost 4 years since I overheard that conversation. Ryan's now working as a graphic designer. He moved out last year, but we talk all the time. We still call each other bro. Still fight over stupid stuff. Still send memes at 2 a.m. The only difference is, now it's all real. No secrets, no lies. Just the messy, honest, complicated love of two people who chose to be brothers, even after finding out they weren't. So yeah, if you ever find out your brother isn't really your brother, ask yourself this: was he ever anything else? Because family isn't always something you're born into. Sometimes it's something you build, one hard conversation at a time.